That's why he lost his case today. K. And oh, the look on his face. Pure shock. Priceless. You could almost hear his thoughts screaming. Wait, what do you mean the evidence shows I'm full of it? He looked like a magician whose rabbit refused to come out of the hat. Let's be real, there's nothing quite as funny as watching someone who lied to get a stalking order suddenly realize the judge isn't buying the act. The judge was blunt, even courteous about it, honestly. I don't feel this is the proper subject matter for a stalking order, so I'm going to respectfully deny it. Translation? Stop wasting the court's time with your nonsense. Was almost polite. Almost. But that little phrase packed the punch of a heavyweight knockout. The case was over, and the wannabe victim was left holding nothing but excuses. And here's the thing. This whole courtroom saga didn't just end there. It bled right into the evening's township meeting, because of course it did. Hey, this isn't just politics. It's reality television, except with worse acting and no commercial breaks. Act 2 of the farce. Enter the board meeting, where the vibe wasn't so much professional governance as it was group. Project gone wrong. Residents showed up, frustrated and fed up, demanding answers about how their tax dollars are being spent. Spoiler, they didn't get answers. What they got instead were excuses. One resident summed it up perfectly. They said the board's behavior was like asking your kids if they brushed their teeth. Kids say yes, of course, but you still have to check, because you know better. That's how finances work. 2, you can't just take someone's word for it. You need receipts. You need verification. But here, the township acts like transparency is optional. Where's the forensic audit of township finances that residents have been demanding for years? Why aren't agenda packets posted online before meetings so people know what's being voted on? Why is Supervisor Napoleon Harris making over $200,000, including his base salary, while residents are left in the dark about where their money is going? These aren't minor gripes. These are big, flashing red lights. But instead of tackling them, the board hides behind excuses and shrugs. The comedy of reform resolutions, and then comes the cherry on top. The guy who just got shut down. In court, strolls into the meeting like he's some kind of reform crusader. Yes, the same guy. The one who couldn't convince a judge to believe him now wants the board to adopt his grand list of resolutions. You can't make this up. He rattled them off one by one, like a teacher reading from a homework assignment. Hiring and spending freeze until a 10-year forensic audit is completed. Agenda packets and updated financial documents must be posted online at least 3 business days before every meeting. Financial software that posts expenses and revenues in real time should be mandatory. Supervisor's salary should be slashed, back to below $60,000. Ban on public money being used for political literature, featuring officials' names and faces. Now, in theory, those sound like responsible reforms. But let's not miss the absurdity here. This guy is demanding accountability from the township right after failing to demonstrate his own credibility in court. That's like being caught, cheating on a test, and immediately demanding that the teacher enforce stricter grading standards for everyone else. In the delivery, pure comedy. He wasn't politely suggesting these ideas. He was practically barking at the board to vote on. Them tonight, pronto, no delay, as if he had the authority to dictate the evening's agenda. The arrogance was staggering and hilarious. The costumes and the cameras, of course, he didn't come alone. He came with his trademark outfit, an ever-present camera, always recording, always performing, always angling to look like the professional victim. Here's the kicker: people who do this always end up exposing themselves. Is when you record every interaction, every confrontation, every moment, eventually you capture something that makes you look ridiculous, and boy, did tonight deliver. Let's talk about the shirt. The same shirt he always wears. Seriously, it's like his costume. Either he has a closet full of identical ones, or that shirt is tattooed onto his skin. It never comes off. Ever. It's become part of the persona. And every time he straps on that camera, it's less about accountability and more about feeding. His own weird obsession with turning politics into performance art. Residents demand real change meanwhile. Regular residents just want answers. They're tired of the board treating them like children who can't handle the truth. They're tired of excuses and delays. They want transparency. They want financial clarity. They want leadership that acts in the public interest, not self-interest. Why aren't financial documents posted online? Why aren't residents allowed to see where their tax money goes in real time? Why does the supervisor's salary balloon? While basic services get ignored, these are real, pressing issues, and the board's silence only makes suspicion grow. But instead of tackling those issues head-on, we get distractions, courtroom drama, false accusations, performances designed to grab headlines rather than solutions designed to improve lives. The judge's mic dropped the irony of it all. The judge already summed up the entire problem earlier in the day with that single line. "I don't feel this" is the proper subject matter for a stalking order. It wasn't just about that one frivolous case. It was about the whole culture of performance over substance. Everyone's putting on a show. The board spins excuses, self-proclaimed. Reformer spins accusations. Supervisor spins numbers. And at the end of the day, residents are left with nothing but smoke and mirrors. The bigger picture, this township saga, isn't just local gossip. It's a microcosm of a larger problem. Leaders don't lead, they act. Activists don't organize, they perform. And when the cameras stop rolling, nothing changes. The streets don't get safer. The budgets don't get cleaner. The community doesn't get stronger. Didn't yet. People keep showing up. They keep recording. They keep performing. Because in this warped political culture, it's not about solving problems. It's about scoring points, collecting views, and feeding egos. The final roast. So let's recap. A man loses in court because the evidence shows he's full of it. Hours later, he storms into a township meeting demanding sweeping reforms as if he's the voice of authority. Meanwhile, residents are stuck, watching their tax dollars disappear, their services decline, and their leaders shrugged. It's hilarious and tragic all at once. Because behind the comedy of bad acting, repetitive shirts, and overblown speeches is a community that deserves better. A community that deserves real solutions, not circus performances. And maybe that's the saddest part. Because as long as the township remains a stage for clowns and pretenders, the real issue's transparency, accountability, trust will never get solved. Until then, all we can do is laugh. Laugh at the absurdity, laugh at the costumes, laugh at the shocked faces in court, because sometimes comedy is the only way to survive the tragedy of terrible leadership. You ever watch somebody talk so confidently that you almost start to believe them? Then you remember, wait a damn second. I was literally there. I saw it. This man lying straight through his teeth with full chest and extra gusto. That, my friends, is what happens every single time Ryan or one of his crew opens their mouth in Thornton Township. Let me set the stage. These people are their own worst enemies. They swear they're documenting corruption, fighting the good fight, exposing fraud and abuse. And yet every single time, they record themselves. They got cameras strapped to their chest, their phones out, live streams rolling. They narrate their own downfall like it's a Netflix special. And mark my words, it's going to be their undoing. I'm telling y'all, I see it plain as day. This man, Ryan, is going to prison. Not because someone's setting him up. Not because some grand conspiracy got him caught. No, he is going to prison because his own body cam footage is going to betray him. He's going to hit go live, puff his chest out, start wagging that short fat finger, and boom, the evidence is going to be right there. His own camera, his own words, his own crime. Mama got a feeling, and when Mama gets a vision, y'all better quote me on it. It's as good as written. Now, while they're busy waiting for someone else to trip up, the truth is, they're tying their own noose. Oh. It's almost poetic. They're so focused on setting traps for other people that they don't even notice the net tightening around themselves. Tax money, excuses, and a man with too much time. Meanwhile, the residents in Dalton and Thornton Township are drowning. People are working 2, sometimes 3 jobs just to keep their homes. Property taxes are choking families out. Seniors are scared of losing the houses they've lived in for decades. But what do we see from the township board? Excuses, deflections, high salaries, lavish events. Tax money is flowing. but it sure isn't flowing to the people who actually need it. And then there's Ryan. Let's just pause here. This man. The way he moves, you'd think he's the busiest man in Illinois. Always talking, always stirring drama, always making up some new lie. Let's be relentless. No way he's holding down 2 or 3 jobs like the hardworking folks in the community. Ain't no way in the underscore world. He got way too much time on his hands. If anything, his job is lying on the mic. That's the hustle. The imaginary harassment story now, here's where it gets rich. Ryan steps up and starts spinning a tale about a mentally deranged young man, Jedi Brown. You already know the name, the township's favorite scapegoat. According to Ryan, Jedi harassed a lady outside the township last June. He says she was mob-actioned, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean by Jedi and his team. He claims they verbally attacked her, stalked her, and she had to call the police. Pause. We were there. We watched the live stream. What actually happened? Jedi was outside talking to his own live stream. The woman chose to respond to things he said on camera. Nobody was mobbing her. Nobody was chasing her. Nobody was harassing her. She wasn't calling the cops hell. She was thanking somebody else for calling them. Remember that? She literally said thank you to whoever called the police. If you're the one calling, you don't thank some mysterious stranger. You don't give a little shout out to the mystery caller. No, you just say, yeah, I called. That's not what happened here. Police showed up because newsflash. They're always circling that building during meetings. The station is right next door. He saw something and came over. End of story. But Ryan, oh no, he can't just leave it at that. He stands up in the meeting, voice booming, pointing that stubby finger, and tells the township a whole ass lie, like it's gospel truth. And he's so comfortable doing it. That's the part that kills me. This man lies with confidence. He lies like it's second nature. A spitting incident, and then comes the cherry on top. The infamous spitting incident, Ryan's daughter caught on videos, pitting in Jedi's face. Can't even deny it. It's there, plain as day. But of course they try. His little sidekick, the woman who drags her oxygen tank like a loyal prop, gets on camera and says, I didn't see anyone spit. Maybe she wasn't looking at the right angle. Maybe she was squinting. But baby, the rest of us saw it. Absolutely, it happened. Clear as sunlight. And what happened right after? Jedi beat the brakes off Ryan. That man's finger was bent so bad, it looked like it was trying to make a left turn, while the rest of his hand was going straight. You've never seen a finger so determined to go its own way. It was cartoon-level twisted. But does Ryan leave it there? No, sir. He tries to rewrite the whole thing into a hero story. Suddenly, Jedi is the aggressor, and he's the poor victim of animalistic behavior. Please, sir, you got whooped after your daughter spit in a man's face. That's not animalistic. That's cause and effect. The ban attempt, then Ryan, in his most dramatic preacher voice, declares, I'm asking that we ban this person from this venue. Ban Jedi. Really? Not a community player? He says, what does that even mean? Like this is some kind of basketball game and Jedi didn't pass the ball. The way Ryan talks, you'd think the township was running a YMCA league instead of governing people's lives. But of course, this is how they roll. Anybody who challenges them, anybody who pulls receipts, anybody who gets too close to the truth, they want them banned, silenced, kicked out. They'll call you deranged, animalistic, not a team player. Anything to avoid the reality that they're the ones lying, stealing, and wasting the people's money. The squatter drama now, Ryan didn't stop there. Oh no. He brought up another story. July 14th, he says. He was mob-actioned again. This time by people tied to Christopher Clark, the mayor of Harvey. According to him, this was all connected to Jedi helping folks during an illegal eviction campaign. Translation: squatters. See, for months, the township folks were crying about squatters, people taking over abandoned homes, causing problems. They wanted them gone. Then, when the city finally does something about it, here comes Jedi helping the squatters resist eviction. Suddenly, the very same township folks who wanted squatters gone are now crying foul, siding with squatters just because Jedi is involved. It's the dumbest logic in the world. Good idea doesn't turn bad just because Jedi said it. Don't flip the script like that just to spite him. It's the same with Trina. Now, Trina's aggressive. Loud. She'll scare the hell out of you if you're not ready. But one thing about Trina, she don't usually lie. She might drag the truth out by its hair and slam it on the table. But she's not fabricating fairy tales like Ryan. And I'll never call Trina a liar for that. She's just extra. Meanwhile, Ryan lies like it's his 9-to-5. The pattern, and this is the whole pattern with Ryan and his crew. They invent stories, retell events that never happened, and twist facts until they're unrecognizable. Weaponize township meetings into personal soap operas. They always make themselves the victim. But the thing about lies is they crumble. Especially when the receipts are on live stream. Especially when the body cam is rolling. Especially when the truth is sitting right there in the video for anyone with working eyes to see. That's why I say, and quote me on this, Ryan is going to end up in prison. Not because of some grand takedown. Not because someone's out. To get him, because he's recording his own downfall every single time. His mouth, his lies, his footage, they're all going to come back and bite him. And when it happens, don't say mama didn't warn you. You gotta be honest. Be real with yourself for a second. You don't have to just go along with something because you hate somebody, and you don't have to disagree just because you hate them either. That kind of thinking? That's crazy, bro. But apparently that's exactly the kind of logic running through the city of Harvey, Illinois. And worse, that seems to be how the Harvey police operate too. This isn't just petty politics anymore. This is the kind of dysfunction that screams for an investigation from the Illinois State's Attorney's Office. Somebody's got to take a hard look into what's going on with Harvey, Illinois, and the police department. And yes, that includes one name that keeps coming up over and over again. Judea Jed Brown. And let me tell you something, Napoleon. If you take anything away from this mess, it's this. The people in this town feel some type of way about Jed. Like real strong feelings. And when that many folks start hating on one guy, you gotta stop and ask, why? Because here's the thing, Af. The people who can't stand Jed, they're professional liars. That's their talent. They'll lie straight through their teeth, get caught, then turn around and sue you for pointing out the fact that they lied. That's their playbook. And when those kinds of folks hate you, that's not a red flag. It's a badge of honor. That's the sign right there. Jed should be on the payroll, because the people who hate him the most, they're the ones knee-deep in corruption. Think about it. Instead of running away from the noise, you lean into it. When the haters start foaming at the mouth, you hand Jed the mic. Let him respond. Let him clap back with receipts. That's how you do it. That's strategy. Meanwhile, the haters are trying to shut him down, talking about drafting ordinances to ban him permanently from meetings. Like what? You're really so afraid of one man's words that you're ready to trample the Constitution just to silence him? That's not just cowardly, that's illegal. And the fact that they're even floating it tells you everything you want. Need to know about what kind of justice system is running Harvey, and don't even get me started on the Tough Guy Act. I saw one of them trying to puff up his chest at Jed, even leaning his busted up hand out like he forgot what happened last time. Brope, your hand back. It didn't heal right the first time, and trust me, you don't want to repeat. You put that hand out again, it's not going to heal at all. It's not a warning, it's just reality. But here's the wildest part. Jed actually gets things done. While regular folks in Harvey are stuck in nightmare situations, squatters taking over their houses, families paying mortgages on places they can't even step foot in because of broken laws, Jed is the one out here figuring out solutions. While the city tells people nothing can be done, Jed finds a way to get it done. And that's exactly why the corrupt crowd hates him, because he doesn't just talk, he acts. He makes them look bad now. Look at the so-called opposition. Take a good hard look. Half of them give off basement until you're 85 vibes. And I don't mean that in a cute way. I mean it in the never owned property. Never had your name on a lease. Mama still paying the bills way. If one of these clowns could show me their name on an actual residence they own, I'd be shocked. Like genuinely floored. I'd even clap for them out of pity, like, wow, look at you, finally did something. But no, they're too busy throwing tantrums at city meetings, pointing fingers with shaky hands, and shouting down anybody who calls out the truth. And then when they're done flailing around like toddlers, they go right back to plotting. Call the cops. Get Jed removed. That's their solution. Not debate him, not prove him wrong. Just call in the police and try to drag him out. It's the level of menace we're dealing with here. Not Jed, the other guy. It's the wannabe tough. Guy who acts like a broken switch, flicked permanently too off. That's what it feels like. The lights just aren't on upstairs. So let's be clear. This isn't just small-town drama. This is about a community where regular people are struggling. It's getting buried under bad laws and worse leadership, while the people who are supposed to help them are too busy playing games and shutting down the one guy who's trying to make a difference. And if that doesn't scream for a state-level investigation, I don't know what does. Because right now, Harvey doesn't just have a problem. Harvey has a menace.